Namaste. So, one thing that makes us move away from our friends are quarrels, misunderstandings, and disagreements. And very often we have this great urge to prove to our friend that they are wrong and we are right. But we need to ask ourselves, is our friendship more important or is being right more important? The mother beautifully says that whenever there's a quarrel, both the parties involved in the quarrel have to be wrong. Even if one party is in the right, the quarrel would not happen. So, I'm going to share with you a beautiful story by Pamela Bloom. She's written it so beautifully that I'm going to read it out in her words instead of saying it. It's called Perfect Stranger. This is Pamela Bloom writing. I live in New York City and I am the kind of person who doesn't like to make too much contact with people on the street. Maybe it's a form of neurotic protection. Maybe it's a little reasonable. One day, crazy with deadlines, I was rushing to pack for an overseas trip, make a doctor's appointment, and get my taxes to my accountant on time. With 8 minutes to get to FedEx, I hurried out of the coffee shop where I'd eaten. Halfway down the block, I realized I was going in the wrong direction and turned around abruptly, at which point a pedestrian right behind ran into me. To my mind, this was so slight a bump, it could have gone unnoticed. But this other man who ran into me started yelling, "How can you be so stupid? You haven't been aware since the moment you left that coffee shop. You just can't go bumping into people left and right." His tone was really derisive. For some reason, he'd been nipping at my heels for more than a block. I was outraged. My knee-jerk reaction was to say, "You so-and-so, it's a free sidewalk. If you hadn't been walking so close to me, this would have never happened." In fact, I did say a little of that without the cursing, which of course only got him madder. He let out a new torrent of invectives. But as I watched him become apoplectic, something happened. All the teachings I'd been studying about compassion came back to me, and it was as if something in me shifted. In that moment, I genuinely felt that this man was suffering as much, if not more than me. I didn't want his day or mine ruined, so I yelled out, "Excuse me," hoping to say something nice, but he started walking away, yelling back over his shoulder, "Don't even try," and kept walking. At which point I did something I could never have imagined myself doing. I ran to catch up with him, put my hand very gently but firmly on his arm, and waited until we had made complete eye contact. Then I said, very, very slowly, with utter genuineness, "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." He was speechless. I don't think he had ever received a response to his anger like that, and I had never been so intimate with a stranger. Time stopped for both of us, and for a split second, I think both of us saw the other as a real person. Then he sputtered, well, I guess you had a lot on your mind." Then he whipped around and walked away fast. I watched his figure receding in the wash of the street lamp, and my heart filled with what? Dare I say love? At the very least, a deep gratefulness. Here was a perfect stranger pointing out the chaos of my mind, showing me how even a moment of mindlessness can cause suffering, and then inspiring me to make a leap over years of self-imposed limitations. New York. So this is a beautiful story which shows us that while both of them were in an angry consciousness, there was a quarrel. But even when one person involved in the quarrel shifted her consciousness, there was no quarrel anymore. And it's always worth your while to be the bigger person, to salvage a relationship rather than your stance of being right. Namaste.